check-in. I think we are live. Ryan here, 70.3 We're going to talk about Ironman 70.3 Oregon run course. So if you don't like me talking about 70.3 Oregon, tune out. You don't have to listen to what I say. If you're interested about the run course, let's talk about it a little bit. As you can see in the background here, I've got the good old Ironman 70.3 Oregon webpage pulled up. It's truncated a little bit because I made it a little bit small so we can actually see Google Maps side by side. Because as we'll point out too, Google Maps and the maps for the event pages sometimes are a little bit off in the size and the scale is a little bit off at times. So hopefully you'll kind of see the difference and know what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to make sure that we see both the Google Maps and the actual map from our Ironman webpage to see kind of what we're looking at. So as you can see in the background here, I've got it pulled up from the website. Here's the map. And I also want to just kind of point out you won't see much of the elevation gain. I mean, you can turn on layers, you can do terrain if you want to with Google Maps, you really want to see. But as you can see here, for 70.3 Oregon for the run course, you've got an out and back for 13.1 miles, so it's not loops. So basically, looking pretty flat. 341 feet of elevation gain. If you really wanted to check it out, you can go to Map My Run or anything like that. Just check it out. I looked on Google or on Garmin Connect, and I didn't see anybody had mapped it out for a run course on there, just to verify the elevation. But I think in the end, from what I've been hearing and seeing, it is relatively flat, and it shouldn't be that much of a problem. Basically, just going to be finding that comfortable pace and hitting it and making sure you're staying on top of hydration and nutrition. So basically what you can see is you've got your transition area and you come out and it looks like you've got a little U-turn here. It looks like possibly doing that U-turn on the front just to catch a little bit for your 13.1 miles. You can go by course direction, exit transition and turn right in the multi-use path, turn around under the Marion Street Bridge. So you'll come out of transition, you'll turn a right and you will do that U-turn. So as you can see here, you go out transition, come back, do the U-turn, and then you hit the main loop. Then you hit your out and back, and if you hit the directions one more time, continue on the path, past the run start, turn around under the Marion Street Bridge. So it looks like you are coming through the Marion Street Bridge, and you're going to run under that at the start, and then come back and do the run course, and then you're going to hit that one more time before you finish up on the run course. The nice thing is, this looks pretty much all on the trail system here. So when you zoom out and see the thin little lines, that's a trail system. Actually, you'll come over here, so you'll be on this side of the waterway, and you'll be on the slough. Slough? Yeah. So you'll be on the trail system here. I mean, you can zoom in Google Maps and kind of see what you're running on. A nice paved trail. There might be sections where it does look like they put you on maybe some gravel roads or something like that, especially here. They got you off the trail, and yeah, it looks paved. So any of you locals out there, I'm sure you can comment on this anytime and let me know for sure. Like I said, I'm in Kansas City, so fortunately I won't be doing the race this year, but I am helping out a few athletes doing the race and just giving my intake on the course and where I think the rough spots are going to be. But I think overall, personally, what I'm looking at is, are you going to be exposed to the elements? So if it's a sunny, warm day, and we're going to talk about the weather tomorrow, it looks like you're on this trail system here. So pretty much if you map out the course, it looks like you come hit the trails over here and do a little zigzag, come up here, hit the little road, and pretty much you're going to be next to trees the entire run. It's looking like, especially on this trail system, you're going to be having a nice shade, especially when it's later in the day, you're coming back, doing the out and back, and you're coming over here to finish in the, looks like the Riverfront City Park. So it's looking like you're going to have an opportunity to basically have shade most of the run. So I think that's going to be a plus, especially if it's going to be sunny out there. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. And you can see the Gatorade stations or the aid stations with the little Gatorade symbol. So they try to keep them like 1.5, 2 miles apart. So you're going to have them coming out and going back. It does look like this little stretch right here. You're going to have a nice long slog to get to the last aid station, turn around, and then come back. So just be prepared for that. The other ones look a little bit closer together. But like I said, unless you map it out in Map My Run or something like that, you're not we can't tell wholly how close those are going to be. But you can see the maps a little bit different. These little jogs look a little bit different when you look on Google Maps. Little squiggly sections and stuff going on over here. May not match up entirely. Just depends on what they're going to have to do to get your miles in. So, it may not line up exactly. But, if you want to take your bike out, it looks like you could go ride the trails and kind of just map out where everything's going to go, how it's going to look, what you think of the course. Like I said, the big things is it's looking a little bit warm. I think the last forecast I saw was in the 80s and sunny. So you're going to make sure you're going to be hydrated well on the bike coming off and doing the run, especially as you get later in the day. It's going to start getting warm, maybe a little bit steamy. Who knows? I mean, we're still a couple, at least a week out, so it's going to be interesting to see how it shapes up weather-wise. But I think the key is going to be to make sure you're hydrated. I would bring sunscreen, sun protection. They're usually they have them in transition. They may or may not have people helping put it on. It just depends with the whole pandemic situation, COVID, and protocols. Each race has been a little bit different. But I usually bring my own, just a little spray my arms down. Like I said, I have a full sleeve suit that goes down to my elbow. So all I got to do is worry about my forearms and my neck and some of my face, and I'm good to go. But I think that's going to be the key. So make sure you're protected from the elements. Make sure you're hydrated well on the bike, 2 to 3% dehydrated coming off the bike. And then be able to, in those first few aid stations, kind of top off. And then as you're going along, as your body starts not wanting to process foods and liquids, to make sure you have enough to make it to the end, because I definitely have a track record, especially in warmer temperatures, running myself into the ground, being dehydrated, and didn't do well on the bike doing hydration. That's been the big key for me. Big key for a lot of athletes is just being hydrated on a bike, because you're not going to make it up on the run, especially if it gets kind of warm. But like I said, the nice thing is, it looks like here you're going to have nice tree-lined roads to run on. Now, depending on the time of the day, you might get the sun coming in to where, especially in sections like this, you only got trees on one side. So it just kind of depends on where you're at in the day, if it's going to be cloudy or not or anything like that. But there is opportunities for shade, at least on, especially this part right here. It looks like you got some tree-lined areas, so whichever way the sun's kind of facing, it looks like you get a little bit of respite while you're coming in, especially on the finish there. So that's going to be the big key, because I think ultimately the run course with the elevation being what it is, I don't think you're going to be really taxed on going up and down hills or anything like that. So it's just going to be about finding that nice even pace that keeps you in the high zone 2, the low zone 3, and just work it. And especially in the front half, being a little bit more conservative. The first 5 or 6 miles, take it a little bit easy. Make sure you're getting the aid stations, getting hydration, nutrition if you need it. And then on the last half, coming back in, you know what the course is like. You know it's going to treat you. You know where you're going to see sun and where you're going to see shade. And maybe that's an opportunity to get a little bit quicker if you feel like you have the opportunity to get quicker. Now, if you feel like you need to stay at the same pace and everything's good, just run around home. But basically, that's kind of my take. I mean, like I said, it's an out and back. It's on paved trails. You got some tree-lined areas for the most part. I think this little trick is going to be make sure when you come out of transition that you know where you're going when you come out of transition to do this U-turn, come out, and then catch it on the way back, and then you run to the finish line. Nothing too wild and crazy. T1, T2 is the same spot, so it's nothing crazy on that end. Just to make sure. So go to courses. Let's go to the bike. So you swim, you got your transition over here in the Riverfront Park. Bike. Transitions over in Riverfront Park. And you end in the same transition area. So do not have multiple transitions to worry about. That's where everything's going to be. That's where the finish line is. Really, it seems very straightforward. I don't think there's anything kind of jumping out. Maybe afterwards we have a few comments like that. People follow up and say, well, this part in the run course is a little bit more suspecting, or you should be leery at this point, or at this point it had some hills or whatever that didn't really show up on the elevation chart, because sometimes the Garmin or the Ironman maps and elevation profiles are a little bit off from what people will get at the end of the race. So maybe you comment with a screenshot of your elevation profile. If you do the race and you put it on there and say, hey, I think it's way off, or it's spot on, or whatever. Always like to hear back. So basically, just want to kind of get this in front of you guys and put it out there that if you had anything to add on this, put them in the comments. Give it a like. Don't give it a like. If you don't like it, put a comment in there what you think I should add, what you think I should do to improve it. But basically, it's going to be sunscreen to make sure you protect her from the elements. You do have some trees. If you wear a visor, I always wear a visor, but I wear my hair short, so I always put sunscreen because I always burn the top of my head, and that's not very fun afterwards. Especially if you wear a visor and it cuts you off, and you have a nice sunburnt dome around your head. That's never fun, especially when you go to the pool with the kids and everybody kind of looks at you a little bit strange in the pool. So make sure you protect her from that. Like I said, I think the biggest key is going to be managing the bike course. With 1,200 feet of gain, I did a video on that. It looks like you got a few steep climbs, but overall, I don't think it's going to be super taxing. So I think this is going to be a good course, especially with the river swim. They advertise it as a flat bike and a flat run, but as we all know, when you get out there, it's a little bit different. So I would just say, just make sure that you're paying attention, you're aware, and we'll pull up the interactive map, see if they got anything going on. So basically, you can go around and do an interactive map if you want to, play around on the website. So I think the main story here is make sure that you're aware of the course. It's in the athlete guide. The maps are in there. Everything's in there. I've done a video on it. I've been poking around Google Maps. I've been poking around West. So if you're out of town, you can still look and review on Google Maps. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. So hopefully this helps you out. Again, if it does, give the video a like for Facebook. If you see it on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, then put a comment in what you think I should add, what you think I'm missing. Like I said, I like to make these as informative as possible and hopefully help you out along with my athletes when I go do a kind of a course preview and what I think they should be watching out for. So I put it out there for you guys, putting it out there for my athletes. And with that, hopefully you guys are ready. So happy training, happy race day, and we'll see you guys out there.